Hello and welcome to Get Blueshelled. I am your
Episode
host.
45.
I am your host, Nicole, and I have Ryan and Mike with me today. We're gonna
Hello.
talk. Ryan, say hello.
I'm here. I was waiting for Mike to go first.
Sorry, I get
Josh
impatient.
is like interrupting you.
Yeah, and yeah, it's time for Get Blueshelled to make its return, and today we're just gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. So hang tight and enjoy. How do I get this?
Oh,
to
I'm
start?
excited for Get Blue Shell to be back. This is kind of like when you throw a blue shell in Mario Kart and it disappears for like half the track, and you're like, where did the blue shell go? And then all of a sudden it comes and smacks the first place out of it. So
And everyone is calling from behind like, Blue Shell coming your way, watch out.
I have to play the intro, guys. You gotta give me a second to play the intro.
Do it.
Wow, that was cool. Production value.
Oh my god, I loved it.
So cool.
I felt like such nostalgia watching it.
Oh my god, I know. It's been a hot minute since we last recorded or did anything. Okay, Blue Shell.
But we've been around.
We've been around. So yeah, so welcome back. This is our first time doing it live, so this will be interesting, I think. Usually we record it and then everybody sends me their podcast files and then I have to edit it and it always gets screwed up. So today I was like, you know,
long. For 44 episodes we've been spoiled.
oh, I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time for us to move on up in the world and move into 2020 and do live podcasts.
Yeah, we're
So
basically adults now.
we are basically well, the show's what? How old is this show? Even though we didn't record for like 2 years, the show's like 5 years old or something like that, right?
Oh my God, is it? It might
What,
be.
get Blueshelled?
Yeah.
It is not 5 years old.
Ryan,
There's
do
no
the
way.
research. Find out. Give me an answer. I need an answer.
This is
Okay,
definitely an
you
answer we
should
should
have
have
asked me
had
this
already.
well beforehand.
Well, anyway, so how have you guys been with COVID and everything? What are you guys up to nowadays?
Mostly staying at home, hiding from the world, living in my bunker,
That's
working a
that's
lot.
that's the right thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I'm doing it for the people.
Do for the people and do for the lots of games, all the games that you have to play and shit like that.
I really, no joke, I feel like I have less time for games with the whole COVID
Wait,
situation.
really?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
more
because
time.
like no joke, I work like 16 hours a day now.
Oh, that's true. You had that weird situation that happened, and I'm so sorry that even happened.
Yeah, thank you. It's okay. We got through it, or we got through most of it. But it's been a
Um,
lot.
yeah, I guess in terms of me, I've been working from home, obviously, with everything going on, and in contrast to Mike, I've actually had more time for games because it cuts out the commute, which
Yes,
obviously
same.
saves
Yeah,
a lot of
that is
time in the
nice.
day. Mike does work longer hours, but I've had more time to, play some games, work, follow some other pursuits that we'll talk about. Also, really quickly, the first podcast episode was October 23rd, 2016.
Ooh.
So 4 years old. I was close.
Yeah.
I was close. Give me a little bit of credit, okay?
Yeah, end of 2016, but sure.
Ryan.
But yeah, no, everything's been going well. I guess to follow up, so one of my new pursuits is that I actually have a new Survivor podcast. So if anybody in the chat or if anybody listening to this post has an interest in Survivor, me and some of my friends from home, we record every week, basically talking about Survivor. So we would record after the episode and recap what we saw in terms of the strategy, the gameplay, the character moments, as well as our predictions for the following week. And then now that we are in the off season, we're going to do some off season content. Like we're going to draft some potential casts. We're going to deep dive into some seasons, a lot of great stuff. And that's basically every Wednesday night. Although on some weeks we'll do a Sunday podcast. And the name of that podcast is the Soul Survivor Podcast.
Ah. So
Yeah.
Ryan moved on to bigger things without us.
I mean, Ryan, but like that podcast is like blowing up, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you guys
really
have like
good,
a few
too.
thousand followers and you get like a lot of views and stuff.
Nah,
And
don't overhype. I wouldn't say a
No,
few
that's
thousand.
what it is. Some of your views on your videos have over 1,000.
We did have a few thousand views on the YouTube channel, but I think we have about 300 subscribers on YouTube and I think about 400 Twitter followers. So
that's
Really
crazy.
good.
That's so good.
You've
Better
only
than
been at it
us.
for a little while now.
yeah, I think since February.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys get like actual Survivor like participants on the show, which is really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I should have mentioned that. That's one of the coolest parts. Other than recapping the episodes, we sometimes have the great opportunity to chat with former Survivor players about their season, what they think about the current season, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
awesome.
That's like a legit podcast.
I know you guys are gonna get like sponsors soon and stuff, so that'll be really cool.
And like, look at us. We can't even get Miyamoto on this podcast.
Oh,
As
imagine
many
we got
emails as I
Miyamoto.
send them.
Actually, you know who I really want to get on this podcast?
I know.
Who?
Asami.
No, I mean,
Oh.
I
Reggie,
would love anybody from Korra, but we need Kamiya on here, and I need to be like, "Where's Bayo 3? I need it. I'm tired of waiting. I need it now."
I think he's specifically dodging your calls because of that.
He might be. I need Ryan
I'm-
to use his charm.
I'm pretty sure he'll block you on Twitter if you ask. So please
Honestly,
don't do that.
he probably will. Dude, he goes crazy with his blocks. It's actually kind of crazy.
Oh my god. I
Yeah,
love
if you pester him like, "Where's this game?" He'll say, "You're not nice," and he'll just like.
that.
But yeah. So Mike, what else have you like? What games have you been playing lately and stuff?
Animal Crossing.
Why am I hearing myself? Oh my
Anim-
god, sorry.
I've been playing Animal Crossing a lot because that's my life
Same.
now. Every day, instead of my morning commute, where same as Ryan, where it would be like an hour and a half to get to work, I wake up at the same time, sit on my couch, and play Animal Crossing for that time.
That's
and then
amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. That's the best part about COVID. And Animal Crossing is such an easy game to get in between like tasks with work. Whereas like, oh, I got an hour to spare. Let me just log in, hop in my town, catch a couple fish.
So did you beat the game yet? Is the question.
Yes, I think I technically like I know I technically beat the game because beating the game is when you get KK Slider in town. Spoilers. But
What,
stop.
Mike? I did not beat the game.
No, I know you didn't. You never do.
I played it for honestly like
Oh.
3 weeks. Let's be honest. I played it for 3 weeks, which is an
That's pretty
improvement.
good. Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, I got like a 5-star town. I had my town exactly where I wanted. I need to work on my house a little bit.
Your
But for the
town
most,
honestly is so cool. Like both of you have the most like imaginative like towns. The way you guys have it laid out and like the little cute little things that you have, it's really cute, honestly.
thank you.
Thank you. You guys haven't seen mine in a while. You need to come back and visit. I've developed a couple new districts. I've put more things out there. It's gotten a little bit better.
Yes, we need to go to
Oh, I
Outset,
can't wait to see it.
the Blueshelled tour.
I
Mike,
like.
I do.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was going to say just the one thing really quickly, Mike, is that you have everything in place, but don't forget they might put more shops and stuff in
I
future
know.
updates.
I do have
You gotta
room where I would put extra shops and stuff if they come out. Like I have room that I would like take down. Like I already have that planned out for which shops come
Oh my
when
God,
shops come
Mike.
along. I know. Well, I have to be prepared. But as far as like I basically did everything I want to do in the game, so I've definitely slowed down a lot. Like I got all the fossils already, and the fish and bugs just sort of depend on the season. So I'm looking for a new game actually.
Oh, I have news for you.
Yeah, segue.
Oh, which reminded me, like I like how we were coming up with like an episode layout and like things we were going to discuss, and none of us thought to bring up Animal Crossing, which is the most recent game that we've all played.
I know, but to be fair, we're looking at games ahead, not really like current
That's true.
games.
Well, like, I think there's a couple things we still need to talk about that we missed in our absence, but I do
Mhm.
agree. Um, but yeah, just to wrap up the intro. Well, I guess not to fully wrap it up, but things that I've been up to. I recently started playing Chrono Trigger blind playthrough. I know,
Oh my
surprise.
god.
So I've never played it before, and Ryan's never played it before, but we've always wanted to play it. Ever since I actually heard the soundtrack is what made me really want to play it, because I started getting into like music remixing. The song that I had at the beginning of the stream I made, but but yeah. So I was like, I really want to play this, and then Mike surprised me by buying it for me on Steam on my birthday. So
You
thank you,
only
Mike.
deserve the best, Nicole.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
No
But
problem.
but yeah, so we started playing that on stream, and we're gonna continue playing it on stream. Like I think I'm only gonna play it on stream. That way, it's documented, and also because I need help because I'm bad. But yeah, so Ryan and I have really been enjoying it. Like for a game that's so old, and obviously has a ton of limitations, right? Like
Mhm.
it's weird because a lot of games from that time period, unless you played it back in the day, you're kind of just like you're riding on nostalgia, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to go back and play those games after not playing it's hard, and it
Mhm.
ruins it for me too because there's a lot of games from that time period I would really like to play,
I
and I
know.
start playing it and I'm like the graphics are so bad. With pixels I can kind of get away with it, but it's like the early 3D models. Like
Oh no, I hate it.
you're gonna hate me for this, but like I can't play Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask because I personally just cannot stand it.
Like I don't blame you to a degree. So recently I beat the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is an amazing, amazing game.
Oh my
Yes.
god, it's
I
so
loved it.
beautiful.
I absolutely loved it. So I'm like, I really want like more because I don't think this is a spoiler, but the remake doesn't cover the entire Final Fantasy VII game. It only
Yep.
covers parts of it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, they basically expand the parts it does cover. So it took me like 30 hours to beat.
Jesus.
So, but that being said, I'm like, I really want to play the original Final Fantasy because I really enjoyed all the characters,
Yeah.
like everything around it. Even though I know the combat's different, but I like turn-based RPG, so I thought it was fine. So I go back to it and like the pixels, or not the pixels, like just the graphics really, like I couldn't get past. Like I
It,
really
like certain
was
see, and
bad.
that's where it's weird, because it's like if I already played the game back in the day, like Pokemon Snap, I love that
Mhm.
shit. Like I will play it and I'll bring back all the memories and it won't bother me. But what annoys me is that I can't play any of the games that I missed, which are a ton of games that I missed, and it's so
Yeah.
easy to get them nowadays. I mean, I'd like to buy them on the eShop and support Nintendo, but there's a lot of games that they don't have on there that I want to play,
hmm
and you know, I can't get past it, and it sucks because like I want to play Ocarina of Time, which is considered one of the greatest games of all time, and I can't bring myself to play it. But
Yeah, it's hard because like I feel like that nostalgia factor does like play a part in it.
Yeah, same thing with, I know we were talking on stream yesterday too. Like, people want me to play the 7 Stars Mario RPG game.
I love that game.
And again, like, I hear so many great things about it. And apparently it, like, paved the way for Paper Mario. But again, it's like I look at the graphics and I'm like, can I really see myself playing this? I don't
It's
know.
tough. Because I feel like
Right.
the graphic wise, your nostalgia is running through it. Like it's like, oh yeah, this is all familiar to me, instead of being like, oh, this is brand new.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like graphics that are just too different from like the normal stuff. Because Chrono Trigger, you're right, you have like those pixel sprites,
And I
and
like
like they,
pixel sprites, so it's okay
yeah,
with that. I think the pixels bother me a little bit less. It's once you start getting to where they start trying to do 3D, that's what drives me crazy.
yeah,
Well, I would
it's a
say
very
the
rough transition.
Well, I would say the counterpoint is that you can actually get the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D remakes on the 3DS, so that at least if you want to play those games, you can do it on a better looking system.
Yes, yeah.
And with Mario RPG, I obviously can't defend that because it hasn't been re-released in a different type of graphical style, but I will say it is a great game nonetheless. And then back to Chrono Trigger, I think you're right. I think it looks great for its time, and I think for a 1995 game, the fact that it's well ahead of its time in terms of the choices every single choice you make affects things later on, from that trial scene to dialogue changes. It really was forward thinking. Additionally, it had those animated cutscenes in it as well, a really unique combat system. I have to say, I didn't know a thing about the game coming in,
Same.
but I've obviously heard legendary things about it, and it's even about we're only about 4 or 5 hours in, and already it's been living up to the hype already.
Yay.
Yeah, it's definitely. I tried to purposely go into this game with as little knowledge as possible. One, I tend to enjoy the games a little bit more when I do that, but also two, like, I like to be surprised and I like to give it my opinion, not know. Like, I didn't even know how the combat system worked. Let's just put it that way. I knew that there were like different party members, and I knew that they all had different attacks. Like, I knew that, but honestly, other than that, I knew nothing else. I didn't realize it was kind of like the Final Fantasy system. I think we went through this yesterday. Is it 13, the one with lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually didn't hate that game. I know a lot of people hated it because it was...
I really like that game.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I got a little over halfway through that game, I think.
That's pretty good for you.
Well, actually, I don't know. There were 4 Xbox discs, right? Or 3 Xbox
Yeah.
discs.
No, I think 3.
Okay,
I think
3. I got halfway through the second one. Okay, so that's how you know.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I actually
It gets
still...
very long at the end.
I still want to beat it, but the reason why I stopped, spoiler alert, is because I got stuck, and then I was like, screw this, I'm done.
You mean the paths are just a straight line?
No, it was a boss fight I just couldn't beat. Just could not beat. But I liked the combat in that, and I know that it's not your typical Final Fantasy game. I know... I was in the same boat with Chain of Memories for Kingdom Hearts. I know that that's not how the typical combat system is for that series, but I still enjoyed it, and I was surprised to see that Chrono Trigger had very, very similar combat system to that, where, it's still live, it's still real time for the most part, but you get to choose your abilities and then execute them once your bar is filled up.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that a lot. And also, I've been playing Transistor on stream too, which apparently is the same exact combat system. So
yeah, it's more common than you'd think, the weight system. Like, I know Final Fantasy VII has that weight system too.
oh,
And,
does
like-
it? But that wasn't how the original was, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. The original was turn-based. But I feel like,
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like Chrono Trigger really, like, paved the way for that kind of combat system too. Like, because it keeps you very engaged. Like, a lot of the complaints with turn-based is like, oh, okay, I gotta wait to do a turn, and you can't really do anything. But like with the active system, you're always doing something, it feels like, or thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. Ryan, have you played any other games with that type of combat system?
No, I haven't. I think I've only played, in terms of RPGs, like all or nothing. So I've either played a turn-based game like Pokemon, or like I'm trying to think of another RPG where you wait for your turn, like I guess Mario RPG. And then you go to the other end of the scale, like Xenoblade, where it's live action, where you're always moving, you're always doing something. So I've never had the hybrid of essentially having things happen but still waiting a bit. So it's been really interesting to take that into perspective.
Yeah, It's definitely. I actually like the combat system. It's a little annoying because I kind of wish that I could do turn based and take my time, but
Hmm.
also I like it because it just forces me to make a decision and actually pay attention. I can't just sit there
Yeah,
and like doze off.
Hmm.
But
doesn't give you the time to breathe.
yeah, right. Speaking of, actually, this has absolutely nothing to do with Chrono Trigger, but I'm just gonna find a segue into it. So one of
Okay.
the major games that came out while we were on our hiatus was Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the DLC is coming out this week or this week.
This
Oh my
week.
god, this
I'm
year.
like, I'm not ready.
Did they give a date for the DLC yet?
It's gonna come before. So there's 2 rounds. Round 1 comes before the end of June, and then round 2 will happen in the winter. So we will be getting the first pack soon.
Okay, so I figured since we're gonna kind of talk about things that are coming out this year and what's gonna happen with Nintendo for the rest of 2020, let's just start with Pokemon and we can give a little bit of our own personal review of Sword and Shield, and then we'll talk about the DLC because that's what's coming out this year. That's why I think this game is still relevant to talk about.
Hmm.
But Ryan, I'm gonna let you go first. Why don't you talk about how like your thoughts on Sword and Shield and what you think
Oh
about the
boy.
DLC that's coming out?
All right, here's what I'm gonna say, and I know
Uh,
that at some point in a future Blue Shelled episode, we do want to delve more into Pokemon as a series specifically. But all I'm gonna say about Sword and Shield is that I was excited for it when it was about to come out because I saw potential good things in it. And in terms of the pros, I'll give it credit that the Pokemon designs are some of the best. The music is always great, and I can respect the step in the right direction with the wild area where it's more open world, more free roaming camera. You can explore whatever, and you can catch different Pokemon with your friends. In terms of the downsides, and I think there are a lot, I think this is not implemented well graphically. A lot of games on the Switch look a lot better. I think that the wild area could have been much more enhanced with way better online features that is terrible to communicate with your friends. And the story is the most bare bones thing I've seen in a Pokemon game. So, in summary, before I even get to the DLC, I think Sword and Shield is safe for a Switch game. Game Freak played it completely safe. They should have taken more of a bold risk or step like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, where it's still the same series, but you go in a different direction with it. And I think they just played it safe because they know it'll sell as Pokemon, which has led me to not even be excited for this DLC, which I probably won't get.
Mike?
yeah, I basically agree with everything Ryan said to like 100%. I will try to be more lenient though, and just give my perspective on it in terms of I actually enjoyed the game going through the story. I know it wasn't the best, but I'm like, I just want to go on a Pokemon adventure, get my Glaceon, hang out, and just go through it. And like once I was in the mindset of like, okay, I'm on an adventure, I'm meeting the unbeatable champion, who I thought they did hype up properly when you finally do battle him. But going through it, I'm like, yeah, it's fun. But then once you beat the game, I thought it was like like the biggest drop off of like quality I've ever seen in any game in a long time. Because you're going through and it's like, okay, yeah, there's like plenty to do, even though towards the end I feel like they get very, very lazy with everything story wise. But it's whatever. And then you have like a spin-off story to get your legendary Pokemon. But I'm like, okay, so there's only two legendaries in the game to go after. One you're forced to get there in the story, and the second one you have to follow like this terrible side quest for. And then the big thing is like going after like the wild area and doing like the Dynamax hunting and all that stuff, which is like fun for a time until you realize that the battles are all the same getting them essentially because it's
Yeah.
like you team up with four people, you do your strongest super effective move until the barrier goes down and then you win. And then you have a small chance to catch the Pokemon and you don't catch the Pokemon. It's like, okay, at least I got some moves out of it, I guess. It's a lot of padding that doesn't really pad out.
Oh my god.
Boo.
Yeah, I very much agree with both of you. I mean, I don't want to go in circles, but I never beat the game. I'll beat it eventually, but I got really annoyed because I can tell that I am getting phased out of the demographic that they're trying to target, which is a shame because you have a lot of older folk. I mean, listen, I'm not old. I'm 27, but you have a lot of people that have been playing this game since they were 6 years old, like myself. Okay, and I
Mhm.
understand that they need to bring in new fans. I get that, but what they're doing is alienating the older fan base, and you really You really have to be careful when you do that. And I'm not just talking just the graphics. Like I listen, I said this before with Chrono Trigger. Like I like pixel graphics, and I think that was part of Pokemon's charm was having pixel graphics. As much as I'd love them to go back to it, I understand why they went 3D model. But thanks, Kinja. But I don't know. Like I feel like the story has gone way too childish. Not that Pokemon ever had the greatest story, but I mean, you go from Team Rocket, who are literally slaughtering Pokemon, cutting Slowpoke tails off, and doing all these like crazy science experiments, to, I mean, Team Magma and Aqua were not that bad, but at least you had like more complicated stories. With N, you had them trying to save like all the Pokemon by like freeing them. Like at least it wasn't the best story, but at least it was like kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Diamond and Pearl, you had Cyrus trying to manipulate time and space. Like that was cool. I can't tell you what happened in X and Y. I can't tell you what happened in this new game. I also didn't beat it, but I also never felt interested. Now, Sun and Moon, the only reason why I would actually put Sun and Moon above this game, Sword and Shield, is because I thought that they did enough new stuff to still warrant my attention.
Yeah.
They like the island things were interesting, and I did like the whole Lusamine story. Like that story was actually kind of interesting to me with the Ultra Beast. Like that was fine, but Sword and
I
Shield.
feel like
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like they tried in their minds too many things with Sun and Moon, and they got like bashed for it, so they just went back
Yes,
to a safer thing in Sword and Shield.
that's
That's my
basically what
theory.
I'm trying to say. Yeah, and it was like, you know what? I had a lot of problems with Sun and Moon, but the problems were not them trying to be safe. I
Mhm.
praised them for trying new things. I really did, because there were parts of Sun and Moon that actually worked out very well. But I think overall, you could just see from X and Y onward, ever since they swapped to the 3D models, you could just tell that the game is geared towards a younger audience now. Um, 1 through 5, maybe it was just because we were kids that grew with the series as time went on, but I don't know. Right now, it doesn't feel good. And then also on top of that, like there were only a handful of new Pokemon that I liked. Wild area, again, I agree with you, Mike. I think that was a huge step in the right direction, but it was barren. It was not finished. You could tell that this game as a whole was rushed out, and I don't
Yeah.
appreciate that. Especially if you're gonna ask me to spend $60. Listen, I love Pokemon. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I will gladly buy any game that they put out. But like, I almost feel like my money and time is not being respected in Sword and Shield, and that's what
No, it's
upsets me the
not.
most. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, look at this new feature we put out, but we're only gonna half-ass it, and haha, DLC. And it's like the
It's just a
DLC,
gimmick. It's like a whole gimmick. I hate Dynamaxing. I
yeah.
find it so boring.
And honestly, the first DLC should have been in the game. The second DLC,
Yeah.
I will be like, all right, fine, you could leave that as DLC. But let's be honest, the wild area is not nearly finished. It is barren. It is empty. There are a lot of problems with it, and that DLC pack should have either been free or included in the game. I will not buy the DLC for this game.
I don't think it's gonna be that long either. You go to like
No,
one dojo, and then like that seems like that's it.
Ryan, what about you?
I mean, you guys pretty much sums it all up already. I think that what I'm hearing is that, they kind of try to go with fan reaction, but I think they went too far back in the wrong direction. I think that there's a lot of things they could do to cater to old and new fans, but because it's Pokemon, I don't think they're going to put the time and effort in because they know it'll sell. It's one of, if not the world's biggest franchises in terms of games, cards, TV shows, merchandising, competitive play. It's so big that it'll sell no matter what. Like, it's Sword and Shield is such a good selling game. I think you actually can find this on Wikipedia. I believe it's the number 6 or 7 best selling Switch game so far. So it's going to do well no matter what. It's unfortunate. If they wanted to put the love and time in, they could do a lot. They could go Breath of the Wild route and say, all right, you can tackle any of the 8 gyms in any order you want. It'll level scale with you. You can blaze your own trails of adventure. You want to have pixel graphics? Let's go Dragon Quest 11 and have an option for pixel graphics and an option for 3D
Oh, I
graphics. Like, there
wish.
are so many great ideas that they could implement, but they're not going to do it. And while I'm excited for the next game to see if it can be better, maybe a Diamond and Pearl remake or maybe a spin-off that's really good, they have to do more to impress me because I did finish Sword and Shield. I wasn't thrilled about it, and I'm not planning on getting the DLC. So we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you guys a question, hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that Nintendo never went to 3D models and that they just kept the pixel and kept improving on it. Like, I actually think Black and White and Black and White 2 were like the pinnacle. It was also the last one, but I think that was the pinnacle of pixel art, where you had animated pixel art. The game felt alive. A couple little 3D elements in the game. It didn't look great, but I just thought that they did a really good job. And honestly, the game was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we'd still be having this discussion if they kept that trend along? Like, do you think like how much of the models, I guess, drive you guys crazy? Because I know for me, it's like it just looks so bad. Nintendo as a whole doesn't have the great graphics. Like their hardware is not that powerful, but I don't know. Like for me, a big turnoff is just how bad the game looks.
So I will say, not to like force myself on the other side of this discussion here, I think we'd be having a worse conversation if they
Really,
didn't go 3D. So my logic would be, I think they would completely stay stagnant of like their gameplay, how it works and everything.
hmm
Maybe the story will be better. I could see that. But in terms of like, because our main complaint will still be that they have to improve the series. And we'd be saying like, oh, they have to make the jump to 3D. They have to make the jump to 3D. We don't know why they're staying in 2D if it's still this
that's
bad, you
true.
know? Like
Well,
we wouldn't know how good the 3D models or how bad the 3D models can be if we never saw them. Because like now we know it's
yeah,
bad, but I think it's a matter of like, hey, improve on the 3D models rather than like go back to 2D. Not that I would still love to see 2D, and the compromise really would be do like a Dragon Quest 11 thing where it's just both.
yeah, that's
Or
actually a really
maybe
good
have like
point.
or maybe have like a game where it's like one of the games are back to 2D. Like have like a nostalgia, throw on the eShop $20 Pokemon
And you know what
adventure.
else to tie into that, Mike? I think that if you really want to figure out how to appeal to a lot of fans, they also could go the Zelda route, where Zelda's goal is to always have a game out every year, even if it's a spin-off, to make sure you always have a new Zelda game in the hands of the fans.
Hmm.
But basically go back and forth. So we have Breath of the Wild, which essentially was a huge step in a new direction that was really innovative and people loved it. But then if some people said that's too crazy for me, they go, you know what? Next year, 2018, well, actually 2018 had a spinoff, but 2019, we're going to go to Link's Awakening, which is a more return to form. So if you
Yeah.
go back and forth between a innovative and a safe game, I think that's fine if you want to play both sides of the road, but just don't alienate the fans that are going to disagree with one of those views and then do that even worse.
Yeah, 100. That's a great idea, Ryan. That's exactly it. Because like,
Yeah,
what if like the game that they want each year? Why don't you just make it like a sequel to Sword and Shield and make the Sword and Shield in like pixel graphics? Like, how cool would that be? Exploring the game again in pixel graphics, but like you have a different story this time, and like now you have to fight the person that beat the unbeatable trainer, so you're versing your old character, like sort of do a Black and White 2 thing, but actually
that
have
would
your
be
character
cool.
in it, or like a Gold and Silver thing would be a better example.
Yeah,
Something
that would
like that.
definitely be really
Mhm.
cool.
But
Um,
like there's compromises to me. But like my main concern with Pokemon has always been like it's not going anywhere. And I just wanted to like at least like expand on either the adventure aspect of it or like make the combat interesting or something.
so
Feels very bland.
no, I completely agree with you, and I do want to wrap up this topic because we do have a lot of other stuff to talk about. But I just want to throw my last thoughts in, which are, I agree with you, Mike. That was a good point. Like, if we didn't know how bad the models would look, we would be saying, "Why aren't you going 3D models?"
Hmm.
Um, I, I just, I think that I would hope that if they just stayed pixel all this time, they would have more time and more resources to put on other parts of the game so that we wouldn't be getting a rushed, not full Pokédex. We wouldn't be getting a rushed story, rushed end game. You know, I do think that these 3D models are a huge undertaking. I don't know what went wrong, but I'll tell you this, they need to fix it because the Pokemon has not been the same since X and Y.
Hmm.
Sumo, yes, I would say was better than X and Y and Sword and Shield at this point, but overall, the trend is downward. And not that Pokemon's ever going to die, but I think they need to reevaluate the fact that the games aren't what are making them money.
Yeah.
It's it's all the merch, it's everything else. And I think part of that is why these games are starting to feel like less handcrafted, more just corporate and more just bullshit,
Hmm.
which is sad because, this is one of my favorite things. But moving off of that into a slightly off-topic thing, and we were going to talk about this later, but I just figured since we're talking about Pokemon, what do we think about the Diamond and Pearl remake leaks? Because
We have to talk this.
yeah, I only have a little bit to say about this. Obviously, Gen 4 is my favorite, and I love Diamond and Pearl. I really want remakes, but after Sun and Moon and after not Hey You Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu. I loved Hey You Pikachu. After Let's Go Pikachu, I do not have faith in Pokemon and Game Freak, and I'm trying so hard to hold out and be like, this will be okay. Like, relax, Nicole. It's Diamond and Pearl. You can't screw it up. But I swear to God, if they find a way to screw up Diamond and Pearl, I will never forgive them.
I don't know. I think they're gonna play it safe with it. I think the remakes are definitely gonna come. Like it's really just a matter of when, not if. I think they're gonna play it very safe still. It's just gonna be like a graphic overhaul. I'm praying they don't get like the let's go treatment.
I don't
Though
think
they
it
might.
will. I think they did say that whole super casual thing was going to be a one and done thing. I think I remember reading that somewhere. I don't think it's going to get the Let's Go treatment, but I'm afraid that it's going to get the Sword and Shield treatment, where it just feels bland. Like, you can't
think
touch
it
the
might.
story, right? When you remake a game, you don't touch the story.
I mean,
But,
they can to make it like more streamlined.
I mean, I guess
I
they
hope not.
could. Did
I
they do that
hope
for
not.
ORAS?
Well, they sort of did it for like the let's go things. That's what I'm going off of, where it's more like, oh, you have a nice rival with you now. He's a good guy.
To be fair, was Barry ever mean? He was just, like, a klutz.
Who?
Barry.
Oh no. Yeah, Barry was more of a klutz. He wasn't really mean, but I mean just like in that sense where it's like they can mix it up. Be like, oh look, so people play it, so it's a different type of story, but they make it more like casual.
That's true.
So they could like yeah, like I'm sure the rival will be the same because he's really like non-threatening. But like the
Yeah.
villain, like N was in
Oh my god,
Diamond and
man.
Pearl, right?
No, it was not. That's Black and White, Mike.
I'm sorry,
No,
who's the villain in
Team
Diamond and Pearl?
Galactic.
Yeah, they can make Team
Cyrus.
Galactic all like nice now. They could be like, oh yeah, we're just I don't know.
All I know
It's
is
just
they better not screw up the Cynthia theme, and they better not screw up the Galactic theme. Those are the best themes in
to be
Pokemon.
fair, I think the music will still be really good.
They need to use Carlos's music.
Oh yes,
Year of
they
Sinnoh.
should plug in. They need
Ryan, any
Carlos.
thoughts on it before we move on?
No, I think Mike brought up a good point. I don't think there are any current leaks out there. I think it's again just a matter of when, not if. I think they've been teased for so long, and they know the fans want it, so it'll come eventually. And I just hope they don't ruin it. That's all I have to say.
I agree. All right, let's move on to the recent Nintendo Directs. Or Direct. I think we only had one since COVID, right?
So yeah, basically we had the one in March that was, and this is going to go into our topic of explaining the direct strategy and the announcement strategy. We had a mini direct in the end of March that was obviously very quick and very put together. We saw a note from Nintendo saying, due to COVID, we're working from home. We're going to do our best to get things out on time to you, and we'll have some announcements here and there, but keep in mind it'll take longer, and these are all subject to change. So we got a direct really quickly in the end of March. It was a mini going over games like Xenoblade, which comes out this week that I do want to quickly talk about. But also some other games. It really didn't go past June. So we're like, what else is happening this year? And then recently there was not a direct, but Nintendo a week ago randomly tweeted out there's a new Paper Mario coming in July.
Yes.
So we could talk about that in terms of their new announcement strategy for the rest of the year.
So I just want to give my thoughts really quick. I am fine with this. I know a lot of rabid Nintendo fans are like, I demand my direct. Dude, this is an international pandemic. Calm down. It's not that easy to just get stuff out. Sure, could Nintendo find a way to do more directs? Of course they can. But I'd much rather than put the resources into making a good Paper Mario game than a direct telling me that one's coming out. I'm fine with them uploading a trailer or just making an announcement. Obviously, I don't want this to be the norm moving forward, but like I like the Nintendo Directs, but people are just way too entitled in the Nintendo fandom, and it's actually just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's very toxic.
It really is very toxic.
The other thing to keep in mind about Nintendo is that, because some people might also point to Xbox and point to PlayStation and say, well, if you look at like the June and July schedule, there's a whole not direct, but there's a whole online event plan. There's some game demos plan. There's some trailers planned. Where's Nintendo's plan? And I think that honestly, because Nintendo is first and foremost a Japanese company, not an American company like Xbox, I think people also have to realize that Nintendo is having a hard time with the work from home transition. It's not as easy for them as some might think. They're really struggling with it. So they're trying to make things work. Meanwhile, other companies are doing better with it. Also, Nintendo, keep in mind, in their directs, they have first party announcements, but they also have a lot of third party announcements. And when it's hard to get in touch with developers when working from home, it's really hard for them to get that content out. So I think that even though we would love to see a direct planned or Nintendo saying, hey, here's our summer release schedule in terms of what's happening, I think the easiest thing for them to do is to put their resources into focusing on the games. And whenever you have a game coming out in the next few months, just drop a random announcement that shocks everybody. And I think that will actually work for them. Paper Mario, that tweet was #1 trending.
Legendary.
It got a lot. What's up?
Legendary.
It got a lot of traction. And I think that, yeah, we kind of want to know what's happening past July, because now we don't know what's happening past July 17th. I think that if they say to us in July, hey, in 3 months, here's your next game drop, people might say, oh, wow, that's cool too. So it's a new type of strategy, and I'm curious to see how it'll pan out for them.
Yeah, and again, I think people need to remember this isn't permanent. This is the limitation that they have to be faced with. A lot of companies are doing that, trying to work remote. I know, again, I don't want to talk too much about World of Warcraft, but Blizzard has a giant expansion coming out at the end of this year, Shadowlands. And this expansion is extremely important because BFA, Battle for Azeroth, the one that's out right now, is the hands down worst expansion that they have ever made. And it really did kill off a lot. It killed off a lot of revenue. It killed off a lot of players' trust with Blizzard. They cannot afford to screw this up, and yet they just recently made an announcement saying that they're still planning on getting Shadowlands out this year, and that they've tried their best to get as many people to work from home as possible. So, listen, companies are trying their best. Game development is hard. You can't just send people remote. It's very similar to the field that I work in, which is TV. You know, I work with physical hard drives. I work with physical cards of footage. It's not easy, but you know, I understand and I feel for these game development companies because, like, reality TV, no one's really sitting here, like, harassing people, like, where's my Queer Eye? Where's my Pawn Stars? Like, nobody's doing that. But for games, it is. And you have a rabid fan base of very passionate gamers that are just going to go apeshit. So,
because I think
get
the
it.
biggest thing is, like, expectations don't change, but
Yes.
the work is, there's more work now. It's like everything takes like double the time to do because you're working remotely.
Exactly.
And people don't realize that. Like, yeah, you see the directs and you're like, oh, it's just a guy standing in front of a camera and he's just putting like videos out while talking in front of the camera. Like, no, it's a lot more than that.
What about the guy who has to edit it? How do they get the footage to the editor? How do they get all the other stuff? Like, are they remoting it to systems? That takes forever to use. I work remote. Sometimes I work on 3 remote computers a day at the same time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. That's laggy. It is horrible.
Yeah, you can't edit in it.
No, and I had to get a whole separate. I have 2 different streaming services that I use. One that just remotes in, and then another one that's like, I mean, they're both remoting, but whatever.
But
the point is,
the better part.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I use RGS. Have you ever used RGS?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
I haven't actually, like, literally used it, but I have it installed, and apparently it's the only program that actually lets you edit with no lag. But I have limitations where I can't load from it, so I have to use a different program.
So annoying. Okay.
But the point of the matter is, though, is that I think people need to calm down. I understand that a lot of Nintendo fans are young and immature and don't, like, overall, you know, Nintendo itself appeals to a younger age group. Obviously, people like us understand, but I don't know. I just get really frustrated with Nintendo Directs because so many people, especially the Smash community, especially the Pokemon community too, they just feel entitled. And I'm like, guys, you gotta calm down.
Like, yeah, like to a degree, it's justified in terms of what they're asking for, but the way they handle it's so bad.
And even like, and I even just disagree with that a little bit. It's like you're lucky that you have a company that cares enough to do directs. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see PlayStation and Xbox doing these type of things, and I understand.
I actually do think that PlayStation has they copied Nintendo, but I think they actually have a direct thing now.
They do like
that must
State
be
of
somewhat
Play,
new then, right? That's somewhat new.
What?
That's somewhat new.
It's
relatively new. It is newer, and then also the new Google Stadia is now doing like directs as well. Like, so everybody's copying Nintendo because it's funny because if you remember back in 2013 or whatever, when Nintendo first said at E3, we're not doing a stage presentation, everyone said, you're crazy, Nintendo's lost their minds.
I
And then they
remember.
went with the direct route, and now everyone's copying the Nintendo Direct route.
Yeah.
I guess my point is just being like you're lucky that you get such high quality things from Nintendo. Nintendo
Yeah,
does talk
they
a
are.
lot directly to you, like pun intended, but you know what I'm saying? And it's just I get frustrated when people are like, I deserve it. Why don't we get one a week into COVID? Like, are you kidding me? But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's bad. That's really bad.
I
I agree
do
with
think
you
we need
fully
to
there.
move on though. But I agree. So let's talk about the new Paper Mario that they announced because there's a lot of split in the community. I think about it.
Yeah, I was surprised people were like upset with it.
Well,
I thought it looked
I
really
you know what,
good.
Mike? Why don't you give your opinion first?
Okay, here I go. So I think it looks great. I'm just gonna say that off the bat. Yeah, it's not like the traditional Paper Mario we're all asking for, but I think the biggest thing with Paper Mario is they had to like innovate what they were doing on top of like keeping what made it great. And I'm hoping, based off what I saw, the Origami King does that. Because it's essentially you have that, or again, it's all what it looks like based off one trailer. You still have that charm going in. You have the lovable characters. You have like the adventure aspect of it. But then on top of that, it looks like you have like a nice like battle system that's not just like brain dead in terms of like it looks like it could be very strategic in terms of like how you place it. Because yeah, we didn't get good examples of how it might work fully, but like just off the one screenshot, just rotating the board around and like finding out what the best combo would be and then getting attacked because of like where you placed enemies. It could be interesting.
Yeah. No,
And I
I totally get
know,
that.
yeah,
Ryan?
So what I'll say is, because I think I'm the only one here that's played all 5 of the games so far, right, in the series.
I technically played all of them.
Which one
Okay.
didn't you beat, Mike?
The last two.
Oh. Wow, if Mike doesn't finish a game, that's how you know. That's all I gotta
I
say.
barely played Color Splash too.
That's
I
how
like
you
it's like the
know.
first level. I'm like, I really can't do this.
So I played all 5 of them. I beat the original Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and Sticker Star. I think I got halfway through Color Splash, and the only reason why I didn't beat it is because I think a new game came out around that time. Because I do think Color Splash is actually leaps and bounds better than Sticker Star.
Mhm.
I think with Origami King, I'm hopefully optimistic because if you look at it on paper, that was
Ha!
that was actually unintentional.
Oh my god, Ryan.
Listen, on paper, it looks like a new Color Splash. It looks like Color Splash 2.0 in terms of the graphics, and it's they're very new original characters. It's very like generic Toad #1, and like the partners don't seem to have any noticeable features. I think at a first glance, it looks like they're just rehashing Color Splash, which is unfortunate because the fans have outwardly said we would like a return to form with partners, the turn-based RPG. I think there was even an interview with the developer of Color Splash, and I think someone said to her, fans want Thousand Year Door, and they're like, she's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So I would hope
What?
that they
Oh, hold
listen to
on.
fans.
Really? You didn't
Wait,
know
what?
that fans wanted Thousand Year
I
Door
think
again? Come on, bro.
I'm pretty sure they don't know some of the fan response, which is a little annoying. But
That's
anyway,
actually so frustrating, but okay.
I think that again, at a first glance, that's what it looks like. But I think if, like Mike said, if you look a little deeper, there are hints that this is a step in the right direction back to the original. So there do seem to be some form of partners. They have unique personalities. The environments look more unique. There might not be a world map anymore. The battles look to be a bit more strategic with an audience again. So
Yes.
so it looks like it'll have, if I had to make my best guess right now, because the game will come out in 2 months, which is really fast, I'm going to guess that it's going to be a pretty good hybrid of both. It's probably going to take the best parts of Color Splash, which had great graphics and great writing, and then it'll take the great parts of the original where it'll have partners, albeit not as unique, but it'll have partners, a cool battle system. So I'm hoping it merges the best parts of both.
Hopefully it's not paper thin.
Mike, you've been sitting on that. You've been
I
waiting to
was
say
sitting
that.
on that one. I know.
um, Ryan, I think you pretty much summed up everything I was gonna say. Truth be told, I didn't look too in depth into the trailer. I kind of lost my faith in the series, so I'm gonna wait to buy this one personally. If you know what I'm probably gonna do is wait for Ryan to play it and then just borrow it from him. If I'm being completely honest,
That's not a
but
bad plan.
But also because I want to see what the reaction is. Like, I want to see if people are like, I thought it was going to be closer to, or, whatever. Um, I really don't have a lot of time to play a lot of those other games, especially with all the other shit that I do. So, I don't know. Like, if it turns out to be very, very, very close to Thousand Year Door, then maybe I'll give it a shot. Part of me is just like, why don't I just replay the first and second game? I never beat the original Paper Mario. I got to the desert zone, so I have a lot of that game that I haven't touched. Two, I played Thousand Year Door, and that's one of my top games of all time, but I only played it through once.
Yeah.
And also I know Super Paper Mario is not in the same boat, but I also never beat that, and I did like that game, and I do want to go back to play that. But to me, it's like, why play Color Splash? I bought Sticker Star, and I was so upset with that purchase that it kind of burned me. It upset me more than Sword and Shield, because I was like, how do you screw this up? Such a simple concept.
The problem is you had the Mario and Luigi games going, and that sort of like took the RPG-ness of it.
Well,
and those games are great.
And I think that's why they don't go back to the partner system, is because if you want to do that, you want a Paper Mario style game like OG Paper Mario, go play Mario Luigi.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I think now we actually might be ironically safe, because I think you bring up a good point that Mario and Luigi, and I love both series, I think they wanted that to be more of the traditional RPG. And I think ever since Super Paper Mario, I think they've wanted to experiment with the series, but the experiments have not been going well.
Yes.
And I think, unfortunately, now that Alpha Dream, that company is bankrupt, which means we're likely going to lose Mario and Luigi moving forward.
Wait, what?
Wait, you didn't know that? No, Alpha Dream is bankrupt. So unless Nintendo internally picks up Mario and Luigi, or they lease it to another company like Retro or Grezzo, we're likely not going to see the series again. Now that that's done, I think there's a greater chance we might see a more return to form of Paper Mario, because they don't have that other RPG series. Because I do think that you can see that they're trying to experiment with the series, but obviously if you look at fan reception and also just like dislikes on YouTube, they probably realized, oh, we're kind of going too far with this. I'm seeing them starting to dial things back. So I have high hopes.
I mean, you had the first two games that were just so good. Why do you change up the formula? Why can't you just have Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario side to side in the original form? Why do they need to be that different? The formula clearly works. And they are different because in Mario and Luigi, yes, you have a partner, but it's the same partner throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
It's different.
It is different.
It's different. And Paper Mario, you have the element of him being paper thin, and you could do cool things with that. So, like, yeah, sure, there might be some overlapping RPG elements, and maybe there are some things that you could change around, but I don't understand how you go from a game like Thousand Year Door, and I don't want to count Super Paper Mario in this, because I actually do think that's a good game, and I think that was a good experiment that paid off, but everything else after that is just garbage. Like, just straight up garbage. Like, if how many games does it take you to realize that this experimentation is not working?
Hopefully too.
And then you say, oh, well, the Paper Mario series is dead now, haha. Yeah, because you killed it. You killed the series off. It's like, when World of Warcraft finally dies, it's because Blizzard killed it.
Yeah, not the fans.
It's not the other games, okay? There are no other good MMOs out there, except maybe Final Fantasy, if you want to count that, okay? I'm probably going to get hate for that. But realistically, what other MMORPGs out there are actually good and doing well?
Yeah, I think it's just Final Fantasy as far as I know. But I'm not really in that scene, so I don't want to enrage the community.
I mean, Final Fantasy is good, and I never played Endgame, so I like really can't comment. And it is doing well. So, okay, fine, Final Fantasy. But, I mean, WoW itself isn't going to die because Final Fantasy is doing well. Final Fantasy is not going to pull the WoW fan base in, because Final Fantasy is a little bit more hardcore in certain ways. But whatever. The point being is, it's not that hard. Nintendo, please.
So
it's not hard.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because that's coming out in July. Just to wrap up this discussion, that's coming out in July. So, looking forward, we can talk about what Nintendo we think are our expectations and hopes for 2020 after that. Because the rest of the year, other than whenever Smash DLC comes out and whenever Pokemon DLC comes out, that's nothing else happening. So I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on what will happen for the rest of 2020. But we can't forget, and I know we'll go over this really, really quickly, Xenoblade Definitive Edition comes out this week, which is super exciting to me and Mike.
Sponsored by Nintendo.
I'm sure we'll go maybe a little bit more into it also next week once the game is out and we can hear our thoughts. Really quickly, all I want to say about it, and then I want to hand it over to Mike, is that I'm really excited for it because, I mean, this is the definitive edition. So the developer actually said it in a recent interview that, because I know Nicole has a problem that this game has been remade twice and Diamond and Pearl hasn't been remade once. But him saying that this is the definitive edition means that we're never going to see the original again. Like maybe it'll get ported to the Switch, the future Switch, but this game is meant to be the definitive version. So it has updated graphics because the original graphics were kind of iffy. They've made the quest system more streamlined. They've put a lot of quality of life features into it. So I'm very excited for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add on top of that, but like at first I was iffy on the definitive edition as well because I'm like, oh, I already played the game and loved it. Like, do I really need to go back to like 100-hour adventure or whatever it's gonna be?
Yes.
And like I'd much rather have like a Bravely Default 3. I'm sorry, I'm still on Bravely Default in my head. I'd rather have like a Xenoblade 3 or something.
Yeah.
Or like a Xenoblade X2 where they really improve on like the multiplayer aspect. But I'm like, after seeing what it is and like the extra content in the game and like how good it looks and like what they streamlined, I am very excited about this game.
Yeah.
I like Xenoblade. I almost beat one. I got very close. I have like 2 boss battles left, and Ryan can't beat it. Listen, if Ryan can't beat it, that's how you know I'm just royally
wait. Okay, I beat the original Xenoblade. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and that's why I'm hyped for this remake. I know on your file, I needed to train you up more to beat that one boss, but I will go back to it eventually and help you beat it because I can beat it.
No, I know you can. It's right. Yeah. But okay, so here's my opinion. I understand why this game is getting remade so much because this game took off in America. You know, it went kind of under the radar when it came out on Wii, but you know, then Show came to Smash, and then it got remade on the 3DS, the new 3DS. Which honestly, I thought that was a good remake. That's how I played it. Was on the 3DS.
And it was just hard because you had to buy a whole new system to play.
That was the problem with it. Yes.
And like you couldn't really do anything else with that system. Like I feel like that system was not worth buying. No offense to who bought it.
I ended up enjoying it, but I know.
And that's why I think this one will really quickly, Nicole. I think that's why this version will do well because the original came out at the end of the Wii's lifespan and it was more niche at the time. And the new 3DS was very exclusive. I think now that you've brought in a lot of new fans from Smash and from Xenoblade 2, I think this definitive edition will sell really well, actually.
But
Xenoblade 2 did very well, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm glad because I do like that series. Here's my thing. I really want them to remake Xenoblade X.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. In fact, I'd honestly say I enjoyed X more than 2. I know that's like a really out there opinion, but
I'm not disagreeing with you there.
I felt that X had way more of the open world RPG elements than 2. I wish X had a better story, but there was a lot of potential in X that I think Nintendo failed to meet, and I wonder if they remade it, if they addressed the multiplayer concerns. I actually think X might be, like a remake, might be one of my most played games because I really like the combat system. I really enjoyed the open world. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I liked the party system. My only gripe with it, honestly, was that they kept pushing this multiplayer aspect, but in typical Nintendo fashion, they screwed it up.
It was so bad, the multiplayer.
It was so bad. And it annoys me because you have this IP that, honestly, could do very, very well on multiplayer. There are so many cool things. You can group up with people and do like bounties or just explore the world. And Nintendo just has
like Monster Hunter.
It could be Monster Hunter, exactly. And you know, I have my own issues with Monster Hunter multiplayer, but I don't know. Like, I'm about to get on a whole rant. I'm gonna stop myself. But like, I just don't understand how companies in 2020 don't have their multiplayer shit together. It's actually the most frustrating thing. Because gaming is such a common household thing nowadays that I just don't understand how you don't have a streamlined multiplayer service. How can I play an MMORPG from 2004 and have an easier time grouping with people than a game that came out in 2019 or 2018? I just
they don't look at other games. That's the problem.
I don't comprehend, like, with Splatoon, right? I was telling Ryan this not too long ago. Why do what if Ryan and I want to play Splatoon together, okay? Why does one of us have to queue up for a match? The other person has to queue up and join them and then wait for somebody to finish a full match before I can even join them. And then if
And you might
either
not
of
get
them
the team.
yeah, and then if either of them drop out, disconnect, whatever, then you have to do it all again. Like, why is there no fucking party system?
Here, and to add on to this, I said this to Nicole when we last hung out a couple months ago, but I think that Nintendo, and I love them. I own all the Nintendo systems. It's the main reason why I don't own PlayStation and Xbox. I've been very loyal, so I say this as a longtime fan and out of respect. They have some of the best, if not in the market, because also the Switch is right now as of April. You guys, I think the Switch is destroying PlayStation and Xbox. I'm pretty sure in April alone, Nintendo had like 800,000 units, and then the other two had like maybe 300K and 400K each.
Damn.
So Nintendo is winning, which is great for Nintendo, but I think they are honestly carried by their IPs and their first party titles like Zelda, Animal Crossing, Mario, because if it was just on hardware multiplayer, they would be completely dead in the water. Because like, again, you're pointing these great examples out about Splatoon and about all these other games. To go back to Sword and Shield really quickly, I have never seen a game where it has been so bad where I have to enter in like
Yes.
three random Pokemon or whatever that the whole communication system was, or 4 random Pokemon or 4 digits. No, I'm sorry, it was 4 digits. And the fact that because millions of people play, there's a very high chance that I get somebody else than who I want, and I've never seen it be that confusing. Even Animal Crossing, which is, again, they could have done better with the multiplayer. At least that one is like, okay, you can open up your gates for your friends specifically, and then the Dodo code at least has 6 characters and it's some letters, some numbers, so you have less variance. I have never seen Sword and Shield happen before where it's like 4 random digits, so that just blows my mind.
I think it is absolutely atrociously embarrassing that a company like Nintendo, as big as Nintendo, as big as the resources, have the worst multiplayer I have ever seen. Things that I can't even think of. If I tried to think of a way to make Nintendo Wi-Fi and all of their multiplayer worse, I actually don't think I could.
No,
I
that's pretty
legitimately
bad
don't
right
think
now.
I could. Between instability of the servers, between the fact that first of all, this is also paid. A lot of these things I excuse because it was a free service. But now
Yeah,
you're
that's
asking me to
the other
pay, and I expect better service. Maybe it drops a little bit less than it used to, but why does everybody in an Animal Crossing town, you want to get 8 people in there,
Oh my
every time
God, I was
somebody
just about
joins
to
or
touch on
leaves,
this.
you have a 30-second unskippable cutscene? Really? Like,
But like, and the fact is, like, once someone has like a spotty internet connection, or just the system decides to like crap out, everyone gets kicked out of the town almost always.
it is abysmal and it is completely unexcusable. And I like it's things like this that just make me think like, Nintendo, are you okay? Like, is somebody like holding you hostage or something and just making you create bad
It was a
multiplayer?
curse. They can't make good multiplayer games, but they can make great single player games.
Like, you built a company on the foundation, okay, that you want people to play with their friends. All of their systems are about playing with friends and bringing people in, right? Like, that's literally the whole thing about the Switch. You go, you take the Switch and you go. You have the 2 removable controllers that are always with you, and you go and you play. All of their advertisements are here, grab this, play this. Like, the whole thing with the Wii, right? You want to make this accessible content, but then you like drop your multiplayer.
Yeah.
Your online multiplayer, I should say, because their local multiplayer has always been very good, but their online multiplayer is just absolutely atrocious. And honestly, I'm embarrassed for Nintendo, especially when you think about it too. When Xbox came out and Xbox Live came out, that system back in 2004 or whatever that was is infinitely better.
It is.
Infinitely better than 2020 Nintendo, and that's where I think that's just embarrassing.
But like, it's terrible because you have like such like pioneer games like Halo with their multiplayer, and like if you compare that to Splatoon, like yeah, you have like the 4v4 mode, but like in Halo, you could just group up with 4 people and then verse like 4 randoms. Like yeah, that might not be fair, but why? Who cares? It's like not ranked. It's fine.
But that's not even what I'm talking about. It's just like the actual like mechanics of the system. In Xbox Live, you can easily add people to your party and then queue
Oh
up.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't even care about Splatoon playing. Sometimes it's fun to play against your friends. That doesn't bother me. It's the fact that I have to wait for Ryan to play a full match for me to
Yeah.
join. And if anybody disconnects in that match and he gets kicked out to the lobby, then I have to wait again.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't
No,
I
you're
just
right.
have a party system? That's what, like, and that's another reason too where I think I just start playing less and less Nintendo over the years, is because why am I going to have such a difficult time trying to play with my friends online when I could easily go play a Blizzard game or I can go play a Steam game and have a much better experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
if you want to play with online friends, you don't go to Nintendo.
and
Is that
that's
simple?
sad. That is really
Mm-hmm.
sad because Nintendo has some amazing IPs.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna start wrapping things up, but let's talk a little bit about the Mario remake series. That did it actually get announced, or is that still a leak that
It's
kind of
still
got
a leak.
confirmed? Okay.
So it basically is still rumored. Really quickly, because I know we are wrapping up. At one point in March, we heard a rumor that Nintendo was going to be releasing a new Paper Mario that was closer to a return to form, as well as 3D remasters of Mario's 3D titles. So basically, a collection, kind of like Mario All Stars, which was the 2D games, in a collection like Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3.
That was a
This
good
would
collection.
this would be like Mario All Stars 2, where it's like, 64, Sunshine Galaxy, but in like HD remasters. So that is still rumored. I'm hoping that it's true, and I want to put credence into the rumor because we did see Paper Mario announced, and it is kind of more closer to the original. So I'm very hopeful for this. It would make sense given their announcement strategy that we're only going to get random tweets for a long time. There's no direct in the works. We're going to get random tweets saying, hey, here's this game coming out in a few months. I think it's likely that because this is Mario's 35th anniversary, it's been rumored. A lot of reputable sources are backing it. I have a hope and a strong feeling that in some point in July or some point in August, we're going to say, hey, you want to know our plans for fall and winter? Here you go. Here are your 3D remasters. And honestly, I hope that, listen, I know we could talk about, is, Zelda coming? Is a Metroid game coming? Is Bayo coming? I'm not sure
Bayo.
what is in the,
Yeah, it's coming.
I'm not sure what's in the pipeline, but I'm not going to be upset if my 2020 is filled with Xenoblade, Paper Mario, and Galaxy Sunshine 64. I would be okay with that.
I mean, like I said earlier, I'm slowly drifting away from Nintendo. I still like games. Like, there's certain IPs that I will, like, for example, for Pokemon, as much as I get aggravated about it, like, that still holds my interest enough where I'm gonna follow it and see how the new games come out. I don't know if I'll get the next one. It really just depends. I probably will, because I'm just such a diehard fan of Pokemon in general. With Mario, I'm like kind of in the same boat. I played a little bit of Odyssey, but I got kind of bored, so I don't know. I might just be on the edge of, like, you know, leaving Mario. I don't know. Now, if they
Yeah.
remade Galaxy 64, no, you said Galaxy Sunshine and what was the other one?
64.
64. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
also
what's
Galaxy.
64?
Yeah, Galaxy 2 might be coming too, but I definitely heard the first three.
I don't know if I would buy it. The only game, honestly, I'd be kind of interested in replaying at this point would be, I mean, maybe Sunshine, but Galaxy I really, really, really enjoyed. So I don't know. I personally am just really holding out for Bayo 3. It's got to be coming this year. I will. I am just so excited for that game because you guys know I'm the biggest Bayonetta fan. I just
Of
think the
course.
games are super fun, and we're due for a new one.
They'll happen. We gotta believe.
As far
I
as
think
Mario goes, though, but yeah, like I don't know if I would buy all three of them. Maybe if they were separate, I might buy one. But it sounds like it's gonna be a bundle.
that's what I thought I heard. I thought I heard it was going to be a bundle. I think it can make sense. I would have said before, even before this whole thing happened, where we weren't going to be sure when a direct was happening. I would have said, you know what? We don't know Nintendo's schedule. I'm very concerned. But the fact that they've come out and said there's no direct in the works and stay tuned for random Twitter announcements, we could see anything happen at this point. So while we haven't seen Bayo 3 since 2017, the fact that we keep hearing from Kamiya that it's in development, it's going really, really well. I think at the very least, if it's not released this year, we're going to see a trailer for it. In addition to the Mario Remake series, I do think that we will see some form of a Metroid game. I know that Metroid Prime 4 is still years away after they had to restart it, but I did hear rumors of maybe a new 2D game or a new 3D spin-off game, so maybe that will come. And I do have high hopes that we will see a Zelda game because Nintendo has come out officially and said we know it's one of our biggest flagship series. We want to have a new game every single year. So whether that's a new Zelda game like Breath of the Wild 2, which I'm very excited for, or honestly, they have Twilight Princess HD and they have Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. They could easily just port those two in 2020. They have options for those.
I
I don't know.
actually,
I think those two came out too recently.
yeah, I was gonna say I actually think those came out way too, and also there's other games I'd rather see ported. If I'm being completely honest with you, they
Yeah.
still need to port Melee like they said they were gonna do that. Like I'm a little salty about that, and I'm not even the biggest Melee fan. But you said you were gonna put it on the Switch. Where is it? The Switch has been out for 4 years
Just
now.
throw that on the eShop. That's an easy one.
Like how difficult could it really be to port? And like apparently Nintendo once addressed it, and they were like, well, we just want to make sure we port it the right way because you know the pro scene plays with the UCF or whatever, like the Universal Controller Fix, and then like random people, like normal people, don't like even know the difference. And then there's PAL and NTSC. So I mean, I do think they have these issues, but like in Nintendo, just tailor it for the pro scene, and the regular people won't even tell the difference.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's what's better for the health of the game. Just port it and be done with it. I don't like it's things like this that I just look at Nintendo and I'm like, what happened?
What?
Are you
Yeah,
okay?
they're just not good at realizing what the community wants.
I think they're so stubborn. I think they're like, no, we know what's best. We know what's best. It's RIP, blah 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 blah.
I
But
think so too. Mhm.
like, yes, and you're doing well, but you could be doing so much better for
Yeah.
little to no risk.
But it's not hurting them right now, so they're like, oh, whatever, it's fine. We're still getting all these sales.
Well, that's the problem, is that they're looking at it
Yeah.
saying, well, clearly we're doing something right, and it must be due to the fact that we have such family-friendly online multiplayer. Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but don't you understand that you're, like, yeah, you're doing fine, but you could be doing 3 times better if you just made it so that when I played online Animal Crossing, I didn't have to waste an hour of people joining and leaving my town. Like, I
Yeah.
don't get it.
You don't need that cutscene. Why don't you just let people queue up before going in?
It's like shit like that. I do not comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I still have high hopes, though. I know it's sometimes are tough, but I do think that with Animal Crossing being a smashing success, it was insane how well it did. I think with Xenoblade and Paper Mario, I have hopes that they're going to continue this really great trend moving forward. I guess really quickly to wrap it up, if I had to plant my flag in what I think the landscape of 2020 will look like past Xenoblade this week and past Paper Mario in July, and obviously I'm not counting Smash DLC and Pokemon DLC because that's already confirmed. I'm going to make my official guess right now, and I know this could change next week, this could change the week after, whenever we record again. I'll plant my flag and say we're going to get the Mario remasters or remake series, whether it's separate or bundled. I think that's going to come. I think that we're going to get a Zelda game, again, whether it's a port or whether it's a spin-off Zelda. I do think they want to keep to that goal of we want a new Zelda every year. And then if I had to make one more guess other than the Zelda port, I'll say it's a port, but Zelda port and Mario remake series, I think there might be one more surprise in the pipeline, whether it's Breath of the Wild 2, whether it's Bayo 3, whether it's like a new Mario Kart, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be one more surprise, but that's just me.
Here's the thing. Are they going to release a new Mario... Well, are they going to release Breath of the Wild 2 with the Mario remakes in the same year? Or at the same time? Because, like, we're halfway through the year, right? So, realistically, within 6 months, are they going to release Breath of the Wild 2 and the Mario remasters? What do you think?
I think...
It's possible.
If they release the Mario remasters in like a September or October slot, I could see Breath of the Wild 2 or one shell-shocking game at the end of the year, like the Thanksgiving rush or the holiday rush, possibly.
Okay. That wasn't me just being... Like, I was just genuinely curious. Like, I don't know if they've done that before in the past.
Well,
I
didn't
mean,
like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey come out the same year? I know they weren't close together, but
Well, Breath of the Wild was March 2017 and Odyssey was October 2017. But I know these are all smaller, but if you guys remember, within the September to November window, they released Luigi's Mansion, Link's Awakening, and Sword and Shield all within a 3-month time span.
yeah. It's like they do, like for some reason they do like release big games at the same time.
So then maybe... I mean,
Yeah.
no offense...
I agree with you where it's like a long stretch though. I'm not like banking on it.
I'm not trying to like offend Luigi's Mansion's friends and what was the other one you mentioned?
Oh no, I was just saying that I know like
Luigi's
it's
Mansion.
not like Luigi's Mansion, a Link's Awakening, and Sword and Shield all came
So-
out within like 3 months of each other.
No,
Like,
no,
a month of
I
each other.
get that. I feel like Luigi's Mansion though and Link's Awakening, they're like the knockoffs of the series or like the spin-offs. So I feel like that's not as much of a sell. Like the games did well, don't get me wrong. I mean Link's Awakening is more of a traditional Zelda game, so I guess that doesn't really count, but I mean I just find it weird. Like why would you release an Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in the same year? I mean they're madmen. But clearly it works out and it did well, so like maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
Crazy.
All I know is I better get my Bayo 3 this year. I'm going to take my day off of work and I'm just going to play it and it's going to be amazing. I've waited since when did Bayo 2 come out?
2014, I think.
I actually do think it was 2014.
Oh,
Yeah, 2014. I have waited 6 years. Give me Bayonetta 3. I deserve it.
Someone help
Typical
my friend.
Nintendo fan. Kamiya, help me. I'm going to start harassing you on Twitter until you block me.
No, don't.
Don't be one of those.
No, I'm not going to do that, but yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything. Mike, do you have anything to say about Bravely Default 2?
Bravely Default 2 is coming out this year, and I'm upset Ryan didn't mention it.
Ryan,
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't mention it. Why is it on me?
Because you said all these other games, and you skipped over my game.
Mike,
Bravely
here's
Default
your
2 is
moment.
coming-
Tell us
Bravely
about
Default
it.
2 is coming out this year. It's just a matter of when this year. They're gonna get all the demo stats that they were trying to, all the info from the demo, and then they're gonna make a great game, and everyone's gonna be very happy with it.
Should I
That's-
play the
that's
first
it.
one, or is that not up my alley?
I think I would be very surprised if you finished it. So it's a
Okay.
great game. Towards the end, it gets very, 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 very grindy. The story's good though.
Nah, then we good. The thing is, I actually do like grinds, like in WoW, but
Yeah,
I don't know,
no,
like
it comes,
story
like-
grinds.
It becomes tedious. Like I could spoil it real fast if you want, or we can save that for another day. But
No, don't spoil it, because I don't know if anybody else here is gonna want to play it.
something in the story happens where it's just like, oh geez, and like it goes on for much longer than it should.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, do you guys have any closing remarks before we end the show?
I will just say that I hope the Mario remakes, they better not charge like Sunshine come out and charge us $60 because that made me mad with Link's Awakening. 'Cause
I
that
would
was
pay
not worth
$60 for all three.
Yeah,
I'd pay
yeah,
60,
all three.
I'd pay $60 for all three. I hope they don't release one with an HD cover and be like $60, please. That'd get
I
me
will
mad.
not be buying any of the games for $60 individually.
Yeah, me neither. That's my last statement on that.
Ryan?
All I was going to say was it's been fun to be back. I'm looking forward to what we have in the pipeline in terms of, future discussions about, current news, games in particular, any new announcements. I think that's really cool because now with this new announcement schedule, we could say, okay, we don't know what Nintendo's going to do. And then on Thursday, they say, here's your next announcement. And now we have a whole new thing to delve into. So I think this is going to be really exciting for 2020 for us.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also with the new format too, it'll just be easier for me so we could do this more often. And like I'd like to do this every week. I think we might miss a week or two here or there just because like for those of you who don't know, I do go home a lot on the weekend, so it is harder for me to be on, but it doesn't happen that often where it'll be a problem, I think. And maybe I could do it from home too. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to try to do this every Sunday. I think there's enough gaming stuff going on where we can. Even though I know it's weird because it's COVID, so you're like, oh, like what could possibly be happening? But I don't know. I feel like a lot of cool stuff is going on. Maybe we'll try to get more into the community aspect of things too. But yeah, so we're live as of right now every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. I'll let you guys know if we end up moving to a separate channel, but that is our current goal. And yeah, you can follow us on Twitter, tweet at us questions. You can also email us at getblueshelled@gmail.com. And I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you for stopping by. It was good to have you here.
And we'll see you guys
Yes.
later.
Shit, I had a